Or you could be one of those like, yeah, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a podcaster, I have opinions that matter, and I'm not going to be silenced by the woke mind virus, okay? I'm going to tell you about some real manly metal, starting with Memori Sonata, the most manliest of metal bands. Please cut this.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the future of the podcast, which is going, hello, gamers! Are you ready for the best metal around?
If you just want to fucking shoot me, that would be great. So just take a bullet, put it in the mail. I'll wait 3 to 5 business days. I'll pay the import tax. It's all good. Don't worry about it. And we'll just deliver that straight to my goddamn brain, and everything will be good.
Sup Nerds, welcome to Powerful, the Power Metal podcast, the most consistent podcast in all of Power Metal, as you can evidence by this episode being 3 months after the previous one, which
That's not so bad.
It's perfect, right? It's better than before. So,
hell yeah.
Welcome everyone once again. I'm your host now, Fernando, with my co-host, the great Kyle. How are you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing all right. You know, we've had an epic journey, and that is what brought us out of our deep slumber here, because it was too epic to contain. We have to tell the beautiful people of the Powerful Podcast about this.
Yes, once again, we have met. Somehow we're keeping a weird streak that each year we meet in a different continent.
Yes.
It is like
somehow
the weirdest thing ever. And this time we managed to meet in Europe for the most epic fest known to man that happened in Roskilde in Denmark. Who goes to Denmark in January? This was
apparently we do.
The question on everyone's minds. Why are we on Northern Europe in the middle of winter? Man, we were like the only tourists there. It was so wild.
Yes. Anytime I told somebody that, yeah, hey, I'm going on vacation in January. Oh, where are you going? Like, oh, you know, Denmark. I want to go see shitty metal bands. Hell yeah, dude, let's go.
The people there are questioning us every now and then.
There were not a lot of tourists.
Yeah, it's like people looking at us weird, like, what the fuck are these tourists doing here? I'm like trying to buy something at a gift store and like, why are you here for work? Or like, oh, but we made it. We made the travel. We made the trip. We went on this epic quest just to meet our friends in this awesome festival that's very small, taking into account how much travel some of us did for it.
Yeah, so like when we think of like European metal festivals, it might come to mind like Viking or Bloodstock, Hellfest, all these massive things where you're camping out with thousands of people in the summer, getting down and dirty with it. This was not that.
No, not
this was Epic Fest. This was only the second Epic Fest there's ever been. Started just last year. So it's still pretty small time. It's just in a relatively small town in Denmark called Roskilde. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Probably.
So this is not the massive fuck off gazillion people thing. It definitely felt more akin to like a Mad with Power or like a Hell's Heroes in Europe as opposed to a Viking of Denmark.
Yeah, definitely. It was that size of festival. It's not Viking. It's not like some people when I told them, hey, I'm going to Denmark. It's like, why? I'm like, going to this festival. Oh, okay. And they probably thought something like Coachella or Rock in Rio or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't even want to begin to explain what was going on.
I think there is a bigger festival called like Copenhagen or something like that.
Yeah, but Copenhagen
is more brutal focused.
Yeah, we saw a poster for it. And it's way more true and big than this. This is like pure power metal.
Poser festival here.
So we want to regale you guys once again with the epic tale of us going to a festival. This has been a bit of a trend for us. Why break it now? Like, at least this time I actually went to the festival. It's not just Kyle.
Yeah, it's not just my personal travel log, which is somehow what this podcast turned into. I think it's kind of hilarious, but we can do other things and talk about new releases. Maybe after this.
So we're gonna get into it. The festival had 2 dates, and we have a bunch of bands on each of the 2 dates. Before we talk about the bands, I want to mention one quirk of this festival that I hadn't experienced before. It was split between 2 venues, not just 2 stages, but 2 separate venues. You have to walk between bands back and forth if you wanted to catch all of them.
Yeah, so when we went to Hell's Heroes a couple of years ago, we mentioned they have 2 stages, but those stages, were in the same venue. You just went downstairs, and they were different sizes, so they could have the main stage with everybody or most everybody, and then the smaller, more intimate one for the up and coming bands. And there was a kind of a similar thing here, except instead of walking, a minute down the stairs, it was walk for 10 or however many minutes it was through the sometimes freezing weather across sketchy, overly iced sidewalks, and try not to die.
Yeah, basically all the locals had an advantage here. We were all trying not to sleep.
The locals had several advantages throughout this whole freaking thing.
Of course.
We'll get to that. Of course.
But we had to, we were planning in advance, okay, what bands do we want to see? In which venue do I stay if I skip some bands? And then thinking, is it going to be cold enough that if I leave my jackets and everything in the coat check, do I have to bring it up again? It's going to take a lot of time. When do I leave? A lot of things going through our minds.
It's a very logistically challenging festival.
Yes.
Combining all that, a coat check. I've never had a coat check.
Yeah, exactly.
Festival,
Me
right?
neither.
Because I'm used to all of our summer shit.
Yeah.
And you literally came from summer because of hemispheres and whatnot.
I escaped summer. Someone in Copenhagen was like, why? Why did you leave the 30 degrees summer? Because I hate it, honestly. But anyways, this was we had to think about a lot of things because then just trying, I'm going to walk fast. Walking fast meant possibly getting your head bonked against the ground, which happened to one of our friends.
A friend that we're with who was so confident in his fancy shoes, I can walk as fast as I want. And then what do you know? Day 1, he goes and bonks his head.
Yeah, it was a cautionary tale that made all of us be very careful about walking on the streets.
When I did the walk between venues, I felt like I was always getting passed by these excessively tall Danish people and their long legs and their confident ice-born strides. Whereas I'm, pussy-ass Californian, just doing his best to survive. And, hey, I didn't fall on the ice once. A little slippery sometimes, but I survived, and I'm damn proud of myself for that.
Yes, we actually did it. We managed. So, these 2 venues, one is called Gimle. The other, they called it the King Roars Hall. It was actually just the standard government.
Just the community center.
Community center, yeah.
It's your fucking Parks and Rec ass, town hall meeting,
exactly.
Community center.
It was a very nice place. It was very nice.
And they had done it up all fantasy-like.
Yeah.
So this is something I really appreciated, and I kind of hope other nerd metal festivals kind of co-op at some point. And so they put up these big banners and fantasy looking symbols that say Epic Fest on them with fake fire behind them. These big dragon and raven banners and shit. It was really cool. It kind of sold the whole tavern vibe they were going for when you're sitting down grabbing drinks between bands. As far as the atmosphere goes, that was really cool.
Yeah, 100%. That was great. And also you could, if you were not seeing a band, you could just sit down for a bit. It was awesome. Now there is a second quirk to this split venue that I think we should bring up later when it becomes relevant with 2 of the bands. Right now,
yes,
we're going to start. We just wanted to give you the names so that when we talk about a band, we can mention it, which one it is. So now this is the crux of this. We didn't see all of the bands, partly because of some scheduling things, partly because of the difficulty of this trip that we mentioned for us, and also other things that we were doing around it, which meant that basically I passed out for a bunch of it.
Unlike the other festivals that we go to in America, I think like 90% of the focus of this trip was just going to hang out with our metal internet friends from all over, who were just like, yes, we're going to coalesce in small town Denmark in winter. This is a good idea. So doing all that took a lot of our focus and attention and energy. So we were admittedly less focused on the actual bands themselves, as opposed to when we can just go hard on everything when it's a relatively easy trip for us. Well, for me, I guess, doing the festivals here like Mad with Power. So forgive us for being less in depth on our band assessments, but I hope you'll still have a good time.
So let's go into the first band that I think you saw, Kyle.
Yes, I made a point of getting there before the first band. So this was Memori Sonata, a local Danish band, an up-and-coming one at the smaller Gimli venue. As far as I can tell, I think this might have been their actual first live show. Like, it's the only one on Salus.fm. It's the only one on their website. I don't think they mentioned that at the show. If they did, I missed that, but it was a very nice show. This is like I said, a new up-and-coming band from Denmark, so okay, local hometown heroes. I'm not sure if they're actually from Roskilde. They're a symphonic power metal band, and I had a pretty good time with these guys. I think anytime I go for like the first band at a festival, day one, first band, standards are always a little low. I was pleasantly surprised for these guys.
Nice.
Very high energy, fun songs, great performances all around. So I think they're like classical music nerds. One of our friends was going up and talking to them about classical music references in their songs at the merch booth. It was just like, oh my god, yes, somebody picked up on that. So they are inevitably music nerds. Go figure.
Perfect. That's just great.
The thing that I think surprised me the most was, like I said, first band, not always the most, we'll say, populated of shows, and especially like at Prague Power, Mad with Power. But no, fucking Gimli was like full for the very first band.
Awesome.
And that was just that, and I was like, yes, this is so exciting for them. Also, my god, it is going to be really hard to see Fellowship here tomorrow. Oh my god. We'll get to that later, but it was definitely a thought of horror in the back of my head, is if the first band is this popular.
Definitely. And then, so that immediately we get our first switch of venues. Did you do that?
Yes, I switched venues. You could Google Maps it, or you could just follow the crowd of obviously metal people. Like, this is, no matter what show you go to, this works. Just look for the people with the hair and the shirts. Like, you can figure it out. Especially because Roskilde, not a big place, not the most poppin' of area of places.
Yeah.
So having just like any kind of crowd, I think, was just a bit of a dead giveaway.
Yeah, it was such a quiet, small town vibes.
It was cute.
It was very cute. And we had a great time twisting around. But the second band playing at the King Roar's Hall venue, I cannot get used to that silly name, was one of the big bands of the moment, I guess, Brothers of Metal.
Yeah, I was really excited to see these guys. I haven't had a chance to see them. I don't think they've come to America, or if they had, it's been pretty limited. So this was one where I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely want to see this because it's going to be a relatively exclusive show for me. And this comes to another quirk of going to a festival in Denmark, in that the average Danish person, much taller than the average American. My God, like, I'm above average height for an American. Any kind of advantage I have for concert viewing was completely removed at this place.
Yes.
So it was so hard for me to watch the freaking shows as like a quote unquote normal person. Oh man.
Yes.
So it was very difficult to like really fully appreciate any show that I was at. So except for when I was at like the very, very front. But I was still excited to see Brothers of Metal. Well, I'm excited to see the backs of people's heads with occasional glimpses of the many members of Brothers of Metal. I'm glad they had a stage big enough at the community center to accommodate them all.
Nice.
That said, I did very much enjoy the show. Like, they have fun songs. They have a lot of energy live. Having like the three vocalists like gives them a lot of opportunity to play off of each other. So I had a very good time seeing Brothers of Metal, and I would definitely want to see them again. Hopefully they actually make it to America at some point properly.
Yeah, it probably won't be long because they are very popular right now.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to do Prog Power, but then had to drop because, of course, they did.
Of course.
Yeah.
The classic story. That
classic Prog Power.
Yeah, classic Prog Power. But anyways, that's great. We have a third band and another venue switch just right there.
So you're just swapping real quick back and forth on these venue switches.
But did you do that switch?
No, I went to McDonald's. I was freaking hungry.
Exactly. So this is where
okay.
Everything
Pro
starts.
Tip. Every festival needs to have a McDonald's and 7-Eleven like right next to the venue. That is so handy. My God.
Yes, it did. And for us, the McDonald's was really close to the King Roars Hall venue, and it was halfway between that and our hotel, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I was so stoked when I was like looking at the Google Maps.
It was very
for,
convenient for us.
Hotel, McDonald's, venue. Wow, this is perfect.
Yeah. So sadly, the third band, Megaton Sword, is the one that we didn't attend.
They got dinner banded.
Yeah, none of us.
They got dinner banned. I'm sorry. Our friends went and saw Megaton Sword because they're big fans of them.
Our friends
and they were so stoked.
They said it was awesome and great. I actually bought a T-shirt.
Fake fan.
Fake fan.
Literally
I am the
eating
worst.
a fucking McDonald's burger through their set, and you still buy this shirt.
I am awful. I am so
they
sorry.
They were nice shirts, though.
The T-shirts are really cool. So yeah, I met Kyle for McDonald's now. All through the first 3 bands of this time, I was passed out in my hotel room due to going too hard on the trip. Not probably like you think. I was just...
Yeah, you were drinking and pounding brewskis.
Yeah,
you're a fucking tourist.
No, I was just meeting up with people. There's basically a lot of people that I met for the first time in this trip that we had cool opportunities. So I had to take them. I went to Roskilde very earlier than everyone else, just to be able to meet up with Sosos, who you might know from either the band that we share, which is Eons Enthroned, or the band that he's in now, which is Gloryhammer, or his other band, which is Planeswalker. We've had him on the show some years ago. We talked online for years. First time we meet in person. So I was not going to waste that opportunity. But that meant that combined with all the previous stuff, I was just completely dead for the first bands. But after meeting Kyle for this McDonald's break, we went to actually see Gloryhammer.
Yeah, it's a shame that not every festival has a proper dinner break. Thank you, Ty.
Yeah, Ty runs like that's probably the best perk of all festivals ever. But we got to the set of Gloryhammer. This time, both of us attended. That's a new one for this kind of episode.
Yeah, all like 2 bands at this whole festival that we both saw, because we weren't like eating McDonald's or asleep or talking to people.
Yeah. So I want to say the Gloryhammer show, which was at King Roars Hall, was absolutely amazing and mind-blowing.
Yeah, I had seen Gloryhammer a couple times before this, I guess pre-COVID, with Tom, and I've been really stoked to see them with Sozos. I missed the last tour. And man, they put on a really good show, I gotta say.
First of all, that castle, it's great.
Yeah, they had a castle.
The castle is just genius, and it works. It looks so good on stage. So they made this fucking castle stage with the drums and the keyboards are in risers in the back, which are part of the castle, and then you have a front part. It's all perfect. It really ties the whole stage together. It's so good. And obviously the songs are cool and everything, but the performance, the general performance of everyone, and especially of Sosos, it's just so good. I'm really happy because that show was really, really great.
Yeah, I think when Sozos first joined Gloryhammer, people were like highly scrutinizing his like stage presence and stuff. And I think it's been a couple years since then at this point, and he's definitely gotten comfortable with the whole performance that's involved with Gloryhammer. So I think he's doing a phenomenal job. Plus, he obviously he sounds amazing. He's fucking Sozo's Michael.
Yeah, and definitely he has the stage presence now. Like maybe you could say that in the first tour they did, it was a bit like he wasn't filling up the stage, but now that's a thing of the past. He really command. The crowd was with them all along during the whole show. The songs work really well live. Some of them better than I expected.
That really is the point of Gloryhammer's music, I think, is to work live. Like they start with the chorus on like 90% of them. So just it gets the crowd all excited right to begin with, and they know what song it is.
Yeah, but like you hear like a Cupid of the Celestial Flame, which has a really unconventional song structure for power metal.
It's like 80% of a chorus. That's the whole song.
It has 3 different choruses. That's the thing, and they just keep going, and it works so well. The crowd knows the songs top to bottom. They sing along. The pit was great. It was the fluffiest pit I've ever been in, though. It was very weird. Everyone is very polite. Like everyone is very polite, and I think a lot of people are wearing warmer clothes. So some people had jackets on. I had my jacket on my hand because I didn't want to lose time with the coat check. And I don't know, people were like bouncier than I'm used to. Like everything was soft. I don't know how else to describe it. It was a very comfortable pit compared to my standard Latin American experience.
Well, you think everything is soft compared to that.
I know, but like there was an actual pit now. It wasn't like Prog Power where everyone lives like Prog Power. Everyone lives like 2 meters between each person. It was like and it's not like the extreme that was Galnerius where nobody moves in Japan. But like this was like an actual pit, but still felt like oh, this is so easy and comfy.
I guess it's a good middle ground between America and or North and South America right there.
It was a great set. That this show was part of the tour that Gloryhammer is doing with Beast in Black. So of course, right after this awesome set, we got Beast in Black in the same. And
we didn't have to move venues for it.
We
Woo!
didn't have to.
Just grab a beer. It's all good. I liked that Epic Fest had like special beers that were like fantasy things, like the Mana Potion, which is just like an IPA, because of course it was.
Of course.
I love that they had like a West Coast IPA, and I flew from the actual West Coast to Denmark to have their West Coast IPA, and it definitely tasted like an IPA, which I'm not even that big of a fan of, but I did it for the meme.
You did.
God bless.
Yeah. That combined with the McDonald's, it's like the whole package.
Yes.
Well, at least
beer and McDonald's, that gets you through a festival, man.
Yeah, it does. At least we had a McDonald's item that was specific to Denmark. That was interesting. So we weren't like full on like just I don't know, like we did partake in the local culture, believe it or not. But anyway, Beast in Black. I was a bit like I'm generally not as much into Beast in Black. So I took some time after the Gloryhammer set to sit down, consume some beverages, basically a lot of water, because Denmark is so dry. It
no
was
one drinks
intense.
water there.
We were always thirsty. I don't get it. But I actually went in. Did you go in for the full Beast in Black set? I went in like halfway through.
I don't think I was there for the full thing. I think I came in like when I heard Blind and Frozen or something, because I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's a good one. But so I had seen Beast and Black pretty recently at Prague Power last year, and we were right up front. They were the headlining set, and I remember being a bit critical of them about like, oh, it's too much backing track, or oh, they're relying on the crowd too much. So I kind of changed my approach for this one. We weren't right up front. We weren't like hyper scrutinizing the set.
Yeah.
We were in like the very back of this pretty long hall that they had here. And we're just chilling with our friends. We were there with Sozos after the Gloryhammer set, and Matt from Fellowship was there. Just everybody just kind of hanging out, having some drinks, casually, like attempting to talk, failing miserably, and then just partying along with the Beast in Black that we could hardly see over all the very tall Danish people. And you know what? It worked.
It worked.
I think the party approach is definitely better for Beast in Black than the, yes, I am a smart music critic. I will overanalyze this performance, which perfect for some things, maybe not for them.
Yeah, actually, like taking that approach of like the group of nerds in a dance club in the back, and we had a great time because we're just there trying to chat, getting some drinks, taking some selfies with our friends, and just vibing to the beat. And every now and then you would look to the stage. The stage, we talked about Gloryhammer's castle. The stage that Beast in Black has is so out there. They have this giant Torii gate with the highest drum riser that you've ever seen. It's great. Drummers should be that high. Drummer supremacy approved.
Drummer supremacy, oh god. They didn't have the disembodied cyborg titties on this one. I guess that was just the last tour. So this tour is the Torii Gate tour.
It was really wild. The light show was on point with the music, so we had the full dance experience. It was actually a good time, but mostly because of how we approached it and having all our friends there vibing together, like in the same way. Very good.
Yeah, it turns out vibing with your friends is fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad we discovered this by traveling across the entire freaking world.
Yeah.
To the frozen wastelands of Denmark.
Oh, man. After that, so...
This is like, I guess, here's yet another quirk of Epic Fest.
Yes.
So that was basically like the headliner to do like the Gloryhammer Beast in Black back-to-back, like, tour co-headlining thing at the main hall. So at this point, it's like midnight or close to it, I think. But the festival still has one more show each night at the smaller venue that starts stupidly late, and you're probably already exhausted. But for like the true metal people, you can brave the frozen waste yet again and go to the small venue, Gimla, to go to the like, I guess you call it like the after party band or cool down band or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever.
In this case, for night one, it was the band Iron Fire. Neither of us went to this. A couple of our friends did, and they said it was a pretty good time. So my apologies to Iron Fire. We're old and fat and tired.
I'm really sorry. Iron Fire, we're sure you're lovely people, and your set is probably great. But it was honestly, I think it was never in our plans to do it because we knew we didn't have it in us. Did any of our friends go? Someone probably went.
Yeah, a couple of them did. They said it was good.
Yeah, so there were people there. It's not like everyone ditched them, of course. Like there were people for all the bands, which was good to see. I honestly after Beast in Black, I just kept talking with Sosos and Matt, which Matt has been in one of the Eon songs, if you want to check it out.
So I think we should focus on this. Is a bit of an auspicious day because not only was it the first time that like two Eons Enthroned members ever like met in real life, you technically had three.
Yeah, we had three,
which is insane.
Which is pretty
and
insane.
It was the day you had a single come out.
Yes. Oh, it was that same day. I didn't realize.
It was the same day.
I was so out of it. Honestly.
Yeah, because like the music video, well, because the song came out like a few hours earlier or whatever, right? I was waiting until the music video came out that evening, but we were busy with the festival. So I didn't watch it until I got back to the hotel or whatever at 1 a.m.
Yes.
I was watching on my phone. I'm
Yes.
like, oh, this is so sick.
Right.
And since we were rooming together, I was like, it would be really funny if Fernando came in while I'm watching his video on my phone, and like, oh, I don't want him to get like too like ego pumped up. I should like hide this like I'm watching porn or something. Like, oh god, no.
Like, the fuck are you doing, Kyle? Oh, I'm watching
like,
porn.
Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. What are you doing?
Yeah, you're right.
Off.
It was releasing that day. Like, so part of why I was so passed out for the first months is because the weeks before the festival, we were just working so hard to get this song out, and I was working on it till the moment I left to the airport, and then Greg took care of the release, which was that Friday. That's right.
It was, yeah. So please listen to The Ones Who Defied by Eons Enthroned on your favorite music streaming or video YouTube service.
Yes. So for any long-time listeners, you can tell that I am dropping any pretense of being a journalist that will not abuse his platform. It is time. This is the time. And it was great just having a chat with Sosos, with Matt, and with other people that I know from Gloryhammer. I spent all night there until like 2 a.m. I think till everyone was kicked out of the venue, basically.
So you were at like the main venue. You weren't at the other one, which still has like DJs.
Yeah, no,
like,
this
like
was at the big
or some
venue. Yeah,
shit.
at King Roar's Hall, Gimli still had a party going all night that I think we never even pretended that we were going to attend, because we also did touristy things during the day. So for reference, because I think we didn't mention it, the first month of the festival we're starting at like 3 p.m. I think.
4
p.m. 4ish. It was, which is in Denmark in January, is when the sun starts setting. So
yeah,
it was
like the sun is setting and you're starting the festival.
Yeah, it was technically a night festival, but it started at 4 p.m. It was so wild to have such short daylight.
The Memori Sonata was at 4:30. Actually, I just checked.
That's not something that I had experienced before. I don't know about you, Kyle.
Yeah, because like normally I'm going to festivals in the summer where it doesn't get dark till like 8, and the first band might still be at like 4 or 5. I think Progcar starts at like 2 or 3, depending on which day. So it's definitely still light out then. Yeah,
it was really weird. But well, we had this. It was actually a great day. We had a lot of fun with all our friends, meeting all these people that we've been talking with for years online, being able to just bump against each other, I guess, really adds that extra dimension to it. But that was basically day one. We slept for a bit. I was not jiving with the time zone at all. So I barely slept that night. We did some touristing in Roskilde. We went
to the
Viking
Ship Museum.
We went to the Viking Ship Museum. It was actually great.
Yeah, you get to learn about Viking ships.
I really liked it. It was really awesome. I went with the group that did the guided tour. We got a lot of cool info, like Vikings were just being a Viking was a job, not an ethnic description as some people assume. And they only were there for like a couple 100 years only.
And most people were just farming.
Yes.
It was just a handful of people that would go and raid people.
It's like this very short-lived small amount of people that somehow took over the identity of a whole region, which is
because
pretty
it's fucking
incredible.
Cool, that's how.
Yeah, I guess so. They had these long ships and wide ships, and they explain everything, and they made recreations and tested them, going all the way to the UK to fake raid people to prove that it actually worked. It's pretty insane. Pretty cool, honestly. If you're ever in Roskilde for whatever reason, if you go to Epic Fest, go there. It's much better than the equivalent Coca-Cola Museum when you are in Pro Power.
Hey, I liked the Coca-Cola Museum.
I'm sure you do. I know, but it's a bit. It's not the same. Not the same level of
The
interest, I
aquarium
guess.
in Atlanta, pretty dope too if you're into aquariums.
Yeah, I guess if you are into aquariums. But anyways, day 2. The first one in day 2 is Alterium. I did not go to see Alterium because
I think you were asleep.
I was almost asleep, I think. No, yeah, I was definitely asleep. Oh, that's when I almost froze to death.
Yeah, you were like being hypothermic.
Yes, so
at
this was very bad. Honestly, it's not as bad. It wasn't actually that bad, but it was pretty bad. So after hanging out, after we went to the Viking ship museum, we went with different. There was a lot of us, so we just split in different groups and went doing whatever we felt like. And the group of our friends I was with, we were taking photos. We went to this big cathedral that was awesome, and then we went and have lunch. And after lunch, I was like, I am so tired, physically exhausted. I need to go sleep to later see the bands that I want to see the most. So I was like at the venue. I was at where we had lunch was right across the street from Gimle, the venue where Alterium was going to play. Friend went to see Alterium. I said, okay, I need to get back to the hotel. It's like a 20-minute walk. And I checked my Google Maps and it says, hey, in 20 minutes, a bus is coming that will take you there. And since I was like so physically exhausted, I went like, okay, I'm just going to wait here for the bus. And that was the worst mistake I made the whole trip, in all of my trips. This was very, very bad because it was so cold. I've never felt this cold for so long. Just standing there still for 20 minutes. The temperature was like -5 Celsius, something like that. There was a bit of wind, but not as much as other days. The problem was like not being walking at all. You're not
warming yourself up.
Yeah, my internal temperature really dropped. I ended up taking the bus. I got to the hotel. I went to bed. I was so cold. I was feeling like freezing. I slept for a couple hours. I woke up and I was still cold. That was scary. That had never happened to me before. And I
was afraid that you would like forget to set an alarm or just like go completely sleep through the bands you wanted to see.
No, I would not do that. Like I was so dead set on doing it. But I was like, man, why am I've never felt this cold ever. And I am the kind of person that feels better at lower temperatures than most people, especially here down in Argentina. And he was like, why am I so cold? Well, I have to go. I have to go see the bands. And I bundled up and I was still cold. And I made it to the venue and it was still cold. And I got into one of the sets, which I'm going to get to later. And I was at the show for like half the set until I felt warm enough to take off my jackets, all my layers, which is
and like it's warm
insane.
And stuffy in these venues. So like,
you have no idea.
You should be warming up very quickly.
Yeah, it took like 20, 30 minutes. It was very scary, honestly.
They do not believe in air conditioning there.
But I survived. Anyways, let's go back. So that's why I miss Alterium. I had like a very close encounter with the cold.
You're just like, I'm just here for the headliners. Yeah. I don't care about the small bands. I'll literally sleep through them.
No, the problem is that I couldn't sleep at night. I just couldn't. It was like the reverse jet lag. I don't know. It was fucked.
Time definitely wasn't real for you this whole trip.
Yeah, not at all.
But I saw Alterium.
You saw Alterium.
Yes, I rested after lunch and made a point of being closer to the venue and was totally good to go. So, Alterium, they are, again, like a new-ish band. They formed out of the ashes of Calidia, which I forget what drama happened with them, but it's like 3 of the same members formed this new band, Alterium. I think as they said, this is their second live show ever. They don't even have a full album out yet, but they still had like a packed show where I think they did a very good job too with this one. The band was had a lot of high energy, very great performances all around for them as well.
Nice.
What's interesting is like, I'm gonna say the S word here. We meme on Sabaton a lot, and like the second single that Alterium put out was a Sabaton cover. So it's just like, and then one of the other songs they played was like their most popular song from Calidia. So it's just like, I'm not sure this band has an identity yet. They're very good,
but still being forged.
They need to get there.
Yeah, okay.
It's still being forged, definitely.
Okay. But if the live show is good, that's a great sign that there's material to work with.
Yeah, I think especially these like opening bands getting these like very hyped up crowds, because like Gimli was pretty much always full. I think you could see the bands feeding off that energy that the crowd was giving them as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Which leads us into the next one, which is Power Paladin, a relatively young band coming out of, I think they're Icelandic, which is a fun little bit of history there. So these guys, they have their first album a couple of years ago. I thought it was a bit derivative, I would say. Like, solid all around, just as far as fun power metal goes. With the songs themselves being a bit, man, I feel like I've heard this like exact melody before in Gloryhammer or whatever. But I gotta say, their live show, these guys kicked ass.
Really?
It was super fun.
Nice.
Yeah, like they're coming out here with like the 80s style long hair with bangs. They got their torn up jorts going on. It was like such a different vibe than like any other band I had seen at the festival that I'm just like, oh, this fucking kicks ass. This is so rad. And like
Sweet.
Super high energy. They played an upcoming song from their second album that was sounding pretty good. I guess it's another Spider-Man themed one, because why not? They played a song off of like their demo for the, I didn't even know they had like an unreleased or like a before album one demo that was also very good. So I got to hear some stuff I hadn't heard before from them that I was very into. So yeah, this was a really sick show. When we were like just bumping into them after the show, it was like, oh man, this is sick, guys. And I'm like, oh, thank you. So they seem like pleasant guys, and they put on a very wonderful show. And I'll definitely be looking forward to their second album, which I think is this year.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Then we get the
difficult part.
The venue switch for this day, the first venue switch. And this is where things get a bit dicey. This became a thing in some corners of the internet that we frequent before the festival. The following two bands of the second day, which are...
Yeah, so technically you can see every band at the festival. Like there's no actual overlap between the times of the two venues.
Mm-hmm.
There's always, technically speaking, there is time between each band to go to each of them between the venues.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, cool. But in reality,
there is
not
a
so
problem.
easy.
There is this little tiny problem that one of the venues, Gimli, is smaller than the other venue. That means...
say roughly half the size.
Not everyone fits in there. There is a chance, albeit not that huge, that if you are not one of the first people to arrive there for a band, the venue gets filled up and you can't go in. Generally, a lot of people going to these festivals, like us, we might already know, hey, this is the band that I care about, and maybe this band not so much. That happens a lot with festivals with multiple bands. There are more ones that you're more interested in. So there are ones that are like your dinner band or your skip band or whatever.
But what if you have a smaller band that's like the most popular up-and-coming band in the genre that a lot of people are going to want to see, and they also happen to be immediately after another really popular band at the main venue with a similar sound that are going to have like 100% overlapping fan base.
Yes.
This is where we get into the problem.
So we had a lot of people very worried when all the timings were announced.
Because Twilight Force is at the main venue immediately before Fellowship at the small event.
If you know anything about these two bands, you know the issue here. Even Twilight Force is a very popular band, of course, so they have a very big audience. Fellowship is a newer band that obviously doesn't have as big of an audience, realistically speaking, as Twilight Force.
They're getting there.
But not only getting there, they haven't had that many live shows yet. So getting to that live show is in demand. And roughly 100% of Fellowship's fan base is Twilight Force as well.
Yes.
A lot of people were very worried that in order to be able to make sure they can get into the venue for Fellowship before it fills up, they would have to leave the Twilight Force set before it ends.
And like I said, remember, like the very first band that had never done a live show had a relatively full venue. This was before Fellowship. So it's like, oh man, this is going to get tricky. This is going to get very logistically difficult.
A lot of people were very torn about this because they really didn't want to have to make that choice. They didn't want to leave Twilight Force's set earlier because they love that band. But they also
and if you're a signing session person, their signing session I think was during the Fellowship
their
show.
signing session was during Fellowship, which is it just
that
stupid.
seems like a horrible schedule.
Honestly, it's like it makes no sense. Just move it after or before, because the people that want to be in the signing are probably at Fellowship set. I know that both bands were also worried about this and a bit upset, but I guess nothing could be done about it. It is what it is. For example, I went to see Twilight Force.
But I was part of a big group that after Power Paladin just stayed at the venue for 2 hours waiting for Fellowship. And it was not a small crowd that was there waiting.
Yeah, it was not a small crowd from the photos that I saw that you guys were sending of where you guys were waiting. I went to Twilight Force first. It was a great show. It was, I think, my favorite part of the show, where the second favorite part of the show, when the inflatable dragon came out.
Inflatable dragon.
An inflatable dragon.
Can we talk about the inflatable dragon?
I don't know if we mentioned it. I didn't know about it before, but it's so good. This pool inflatable dragon that was just bouncing around. They just sent it to people, to the crowd.
Like the Ailstorm duck back in the day.
It's like the Ailstorm duck, except
the chickens that Dragon Force does now.
Yeah, except they didn't want it destroyed. They actually need it back. But I got a great photo of it. It was really cool. And then my favorite part of the set was when Kristin Starkey sang the super high vocal song.
Twilight Horizon,
Twilight Horizon. Yeah. It's her, because she's been doing backing vocals for them, which is great to see, because if you've ever heard of her, and if you haven't, I'll tell you now, most of the metal world started hearing about her doing Twilight Force covers.
Yeah, I guess relatively viral by power metal standards.
Yes. And now she's actually doing backing vocals with them on the tours.
Which is really sick to see.
Singing this song as a lead vocalist, going up from the stage and taking over. And it was really, really good. Really, really great performance. There were some interesting choices with the light show, which I don't agree with. Basically, whoever was doing the lights, or maybe the light show they prepared, whatever it is, it was just, all blue for half a song. Now it's all red.
This is the problem I had with Brothers of Metal. So it was on top of being hard to see behind all the tall Danish people, the lighting was just harsh green or harsh blue the whole time.
Yeah.
And lots of fog. It definitely made it hard to properly appreciate the band.
Basically, there was no light show prepared.
Right.
Nobody doing it, which is in stark difference to other bands like Gloryhammer and Beast in Black, which had
they had proper lighting.
Sets.
You could see things.
Because I'm sure they have the live show already set, and they just give the files to whoever is running it. But for these bands, there was clearly nothing being done. I was really bad. You couldn't really see anything, honestly, which was pretty annoying. Also, there was a bit of a weird thing going with Twilight Force kick drum. I don't know if it was a trigger misfiring or what, but it sounded really odd at several points. But in general, it was really fun. They have a cool banter. They have a cool, like, I think it's pre-recorded things, and they all freeze at one point, and they have to be defrost or whatever. It was pretty cool. But since I really wanted to see Fellowship, I was one of the many people that by the time Kristin's song ended, we left.
Yeah, it sounded like lots of people were ditching Twilight Force early.
You could
like,
notice
I didn't even go at all, which
Yeah.
I was super bummed about, because like they were one of the bands I really wanted to see. Luckily, we'll probably see them at
It's sad
Power later,
because
but
it was very noticeable. All this time I was also like checking with the guys, like how full is the other venue, whatever, trying to maximize.
Well, because they
time.
kicked us out of like the venue proper to like clean it up and get things set up. So we were just like in the like foyer and like bar area of the Gimli before being let back in. And so like we could hear them doing their sound tests and like seeing the guys like come and go before the set. And it was, especially the last like half hour before that, it was getting really full. I'm like, this is definitely a fire hazard, but you know, it's fine, whatever. And then like getting word from like you and any other friends who had actually gone to Twilight Force, just being like, yeah, lots of people are ditching right now. I'm going to maybe stick around for one more song. It was, I'm sure from the perspective of a band, like up on stage, seeing your crowd just disappear,
it's the worst.
That's gotta suck.
And I'm sure that,
and like,
I'm sure
they knew,
but
yeah.
But it still sucks. And I hate to be part of that. I hated it. But I really could not afford to not see Fellowship.
Right.
So this was like really bad, honestly. This was like the bad part of the festival. The actual critique that we have for it. I walked really fast, doing my best to not sleep, but I actually overtook a couple people that were walking towards the other venue as well, because I really couldn't not see them. When I got in, the dude on the door was counting all the people that were going in, which really put like, oh yeah, there is an actual limit and that they have to enforce it.
Yeah, because it's like 600 or something like that, I think they said.
Mm-hmm. So that sucks. I guess it was the only way they could make a two stage festival work with the venues available in this small town.
It's not like they're going to have a ton of venues for this kind of thing.
But honestly, this was the only conflicting part of the whole schedule. I never heard anyone talk about any others being worried, like with Twilight Force and Fellowship fans. Of course, we also hang out in spaces where there are more Fellowship and Twilight Force fans than other bands. But this was like the one that was really making noise. And in the end, it turned out right.
This was the killer one.
Yeah, it meant that by the end of the Twilight Force set, they had way less people than when it started, which always sucks as a performer to see.
But that does bring us to the actual performance of Fellowship. So I was lucky I managed to get right onto the actual rail, like front and center for this show, because my 2 hours of waiting and missing Twilight Force, I wanted this to pay off. So luckily that did.
I
all
was at
our
the
friends
center,
more or less around us.
I was at the front and center as well.
Yeah,
you
had to fight for it. I got the actual rail. I
didn't get to the rail because I also wanted to move, so it was fine. But you just have to go for it.
Yeah, I had to go for it.
And man, that Fellowship set. This
was easily one of the most like memorable live shows I think of my entire concert going live.
I agree.
The literal
100%.
hundreds of bands I've seen at this point.
Yes, 100%. This is one of my top 5 live shows ever. And that's a lot.
We've complained about the smaller venue having limited capacity, but the benefit of that is it really gives it this more intimate feel, because you can be so much closer to the band. Don't know, there weren't like lighting issues or like having trouble seeing them, because everybody's up close. And man, the crowd was fucking into it, man.
The crowd was insane.
Oh wow.
Made me feel at home. I am pretty sure that there was more Argentinians than me in that crowd, because I wasn't the only one starting the fellowship chanting.
I mean, you don't have to be Argentinian to chant a band name.
Nobody else did that for any other band in the whole festival.
I feel like this is just the single band that people are most excited for. Like, even in America, like, we have people starting band name chants.
Yeah, but still, like,
we have lame crowds.
It was very Latin American-like. Whenever the song just ended, they didn't even got a breath, and someone started, fellowship.
Yeah, I think that's just because everybody was that fucking excited.
But it was like every single person that was in that venue was 100% on the fellowship boat. And that's the best kind of crowd to be in to watch a show.
Because you weren't just there casually. You were there making like the conscious choice on top of like just regular festival going.
Yeah.
To be there. So that extra dedicated fan base portion just really made this an extra special show. And I think you could tell with the feedback the band was getting, where it's just like, we don't even have to fucking sing. The crowd can sing everything. Like, we don't even have to like do anything between songs, because they're just going to be chanting our names for forever, which I normally see for like Blind Guardian.
Yeah.
And here we are for the little guy here.
Yes. And honestly, it's well deserved, because like the performance that we got out of that show from everyone in the band, it was just insane.
Brad
really
was doing phenomenal on the guitar. Like, he had so much stage presence, all of his jumping, spinning around, doing the shredding, like all the facial expressions, the way the band members like interact with each other. I'm blanking on their new bassist name. I'm sorry, but man, they were all just so fun, so jolly. The vibes were immaculate. My God.
Yeah, it was really perfect. So it was perfect in a way, like, you know, I cannot lie on these things. I need to mention some things. The first song had a couple issues, in the sense that the first verse, the microphone was off, but that's not the band's fault. It just happens.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, because I was so close if I was like, if I was too close, just like the way to hear the sound mixing, or if like the crowd was just that fucking loud.
No, the microphone
so I couldn't
was
even really
off
tell,
for the first bunch of the first song. Then also there was one point that then, talking with Todd about it, he mentioned like he heard some weird mistriggering of his drums or whatever, but it was just for a beat, I think, in the first song as well. And then
nobody in the crowd gives a shit.
And everyone knows, in a festival setting for the small band in the small venue, the first song is usually a bit of a bust, just figuring out the final things of the mix, no matter how much they sound check, because they probably didn't sound check enough.
They sound checked a lot, because we were right there.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It's different when there's a bunch of people in there too, I think.
You need to adjust for all the bodies there. The thing is, after that little start, everything was perfect. Like, incredibly, it was such a high level of performance. I think I mentioned before on the show that I always perceive there's this sort of ceiling in power metal live performance that very few bands are above. I think Fellowship is now reaching that ceiling of performance ability, and they basically just started. They have done very few live shows in the couple of years they've existed. They have become way better at those live shows. Just based on recordings and hearing people talking about assisting some of the UK shows, this has been the best live show yet by a lot. And it was actually incredible. And not just because of that, their songs, of course, are awesome. And they were able to successfully pull them off, bring them to life. And with the help of this crowd, it was just a very emotional experience. I think not just for me, but for most of the people there in the first 4 rows, maybe everyone. These songs actually speak to people, and when they are performed like this well, and with an audience that is 100% all behind it and all into it, it was like it was just the perfect live show.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of seeing Galnerius at Prague Power, where it just kind of like, it feels like this is a miracle. You know?
Yes.
Where like the crowd is so behind you that like, yeah, there might be technical hiccups here and there, but who gives a shit? Because we're all here for this and we all believe in it so very much. Like you said, like I think their songs definitely like hit more of an emotional side than your average power metal does. Where it's like, you know, we all love the glory and the dragons and whatever, but this I think speaks to people a bit more, and I guess shout out to Matt and the lyrics for that. But just like the little flourishes Matt adds on the live show, the having hundreds of people all saying, you know, Saint Beyond the River, or saying how you've always been worthy, just like all together, like there's something, dare I say, powerful about it.
Incredibly powerful. I don't know about you, but at the second song, maybe second or first song, I just left my second row spot and jumped back into the pit for like 4 songs.
So I couldn't see a pit because I was just so laser focused on being on the rail. But whenever I like took like a video of something behind me very briefly, like you can just see everybody going freaking nuts.
Yeah.
Sans our friend's husband, who was not a power metal fan, but we'll ignore that.
It was awesome, and I saw a lot of happy faces, but not just the usual metal. Oh, I'm having fun in the pit. A lot of people were just really having a moment there, and in between the different spots, in between like crazy pit moments, you were just like hugging people around you, randoms, just singing along together. And it was really
tears from your eyes.
Yeah, really a communal experience for everyone. And that's the best kind of show.
At least on Setlist.fm, it looks like they've played 17 total shows, at least that people have written down on there. That is not a lot.
No.
To be at like this level of dedication, I think, for like a power metal band with 1 album.
Mm-hmm.
It is insane. And even like during the set, like Matt being like, how many of you just came straight from Twilight Force? We're sorry that happened.
Yes.
But thank you for being here now. When we were talking to them afterward, it sounded like this is like the best crowd they've ever had, which I'd believe it. This level of hype and dedication.
Like I've seen some crowds, and this one was just top tier. Any band would love to have this kind of crowd.
Definitely. And it also made me think, man, Mad with Power is going to be fucking nuts. Because that crowd is like 100% in on them too. Like they were popping off at the reveal video for them last year. So man, that's going to be just insane too. So come August, we get to die again.
Yeah. And make another one of these episodes after.
Yes. There will be no episodes between then and now.
Yes,
this is it.
There will be. No, we will do it. We will fill the gap between travel episodes. I swear.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow.
That's what they all say. You tell all the girls that, don't you?
It will happen. But yeah, just to round up again, I don't know how to express how good the Fellowship show was. It's, if you can catch them, go, because it's worth it so much.
If you check their Facebook, there's a video that Matt took of, I think it was towards the end of the set, and you can see, you know, my face and everybody else's faces of just how fucking insane this crowd was.
Also, we kind of, I like to take credit. This is a weird thing to take credit of, but so many of our friends went to this festival, and a lot like feel like, oh yeah, we're gonna get to see Fellowship, which we've never seen live. And when we bought our tickets for the festival, we bought the last ones. So I take credit for selling out this festival.
Did you get the actual last one?
I think I got
I thought they added some more.
We got the last 4, I think. Last 3 or 4 between the last ones that bought tickets.
It was definitely within the last couple percent.
And I want everyone to know that Fellowship did that.
Yes.
They are the one pulling the numbers. Book them.
Put them on the big stage.
Put them on the big stage now. Now that we have had the experience of having them on a small stage for ourselves, you can put them on the big stage.
Yeah, we're willing to share.
But that was awesome. That was a gameplay. We stayed for a bit talking to the guys.
Yeah, even just after the show, like,
yes,
I felt like I was in this haze that I'm not normally in after any show.
I was emotionally exhausted at the end of the show. You have no idea. Like, I needed a lot of time just drinking water and sitting there processing everything.
There was this like post-nut clarity to it.
Yes, exactly.
Where it's just like, oh man, I need to just rethink my life.
Yeah, reassessing everything right now. Very happy that I actually went, which at the start wasn't an easy decision, but definitely completely worth it.
Definitely, and getting to hang out with the guys afterward, because there wasn't a show for the next like several hours at the same venue, so the Fellowship guys were just hanging out and talking to the lingering people in the crowd for a while, which also fun to see, because there's lots of pictures being taken and selfies and brofists and whatever you want.
Yeah, it was really great. Really great to also get to talk to them in person. You know, we've had them on the show twice by now.
Got to give them powerful patches.
And we gave them the powerful patches. The ones they deserved.
They immediately threw them in the trash.
No. But I did give Cal a powerful guitar pick, and he forgot it at the hotel. But also this was later at night, and he was a few beers in, more than a few.
Those English people, dude.
Yeah, luckily we have some other English friends that can give them the stuff for us. Anyways, we talked for a while there, but then we had to leave because they were just kicking us out of the venue.
Yeah.
And at that time, I did the McDonald's.
McDonald's round 2, baby. Let's go.
McDonald's round 2, which basically meant the next band was at the larger venue, and it was Bloodbound. So yeah, I just honestly, personally, I'm not a fan. I knew I was gonna go eat at that time. By the time we got back to the venue, they were still playing, right? I
think we caught the very end, like we got Nosferatu, which is okay, cool. We got the good song.
Yeah, so I didn't go into the actual stage area proper. I was just sitting at the table, completely exhausted.
Yeah, because like the table tavern area is right next to
you
where
can
the band
hear
plays,
a bit.
so you can still hear while you're drinking or sitting or whatever.
Yeah, which is a pretty nice thing, honestly. I like that arrangement.
That's a nice like backup option.
Also, I bought more merch.
Bought merch. Let's get that merch. I got the Fellowship Dorito patch. I got the Fellowship shirt.
I got the Dorito patch. I couldn't get a shirt. They were sold out of my size, which is the largest one. So I bought the
PSA at all metal bands.
Yeah.
Your fans are powerful men. All right, get order a couple more of the big sizes. You know.
Yeah.
The fucking European sizes are a little bit smaller than the rest of the world, maybe. So we can bump that up a little bit.
Anyways, so I bought the record, and the CD just to throw in some.
So
money.
you stored all this stuff like on the desk at our hotel room. There was a lot of orange.
There was a lot of orange. Yeah,
from all the Saberlight Chronicles stuff.
Then sorry, Bloodbound. You were probably great.
Hey, I talked to them at Prague Power one time. They were nice people.
Nice.
So we don't have to say they're probably lovely people.
Awesome. They are confirmed lovely people.
Yeah, exactly.
After that is Orden Ogan. I did not go in for Orden Ogan.
I was in there for most of the set, just kind of what we did for Beast in Black, just where we did the party in the back, the mullet style, if you will, which is basically just I'm gonna grab a beer, I'm gonna hang out with my buds. It's gonna be a great time.
Mhm.
And Orden Ogan, they put on a great show. I really enjoyed them at Prog Power a few years back. And it was just like, yeah, they're gonna do great again here. They have, fun stage banter. They've got great catchy sing-along type songs. When they have the whole crowd popping off like the things we believe in or gunmen or whatever, they really do a good job with all of that. So I was stoked for that.
Yeah, I was just sitting on the table with a bunch of our friends, still processing fellowship, getting some drinks.
If there's anything that's become clear at this, it's like, okay, I guess 3 takeaways. 1, fellowship, awesome. 2, hanging out with friends, awesome. 3, Denmark, fucking cold. Okay.
Fucking cold. Also, my legs were killing me at this point. And then I think it was after the end of Orden Ogan that we left the venue. There was another venue switch left for the final one of that night.
Yeah, so the cooldown band this time being Skiltron, the Argentinian Scotland people.
Yes, the Argentinian cosplayers, basically. But this is, for anyone that doesn't know, Skiltron is an old band by now. They do folk metal, European folk metal, but they started in Argentina. But they actually made it. They were pretty popular in Europe all along. So they still have one Argentinian person in their lineup, maybe 2. I don't remember correctly now, sorry. So all this time I felt compelled to go watch it, to see my brethren perform.
And that did not happen.
And that did not happen because I bought the fellowship vinyl record like an idiot. So I had to lug this thing around, right? I was not going to a show with a vinyl record in hand. It was like, oh yeah, I bought this, I'm going to break it. And also I was really, really tired. So I went back to the hotel with one of our friend group. And basically that's it. I bailed on Skiltron. I'm sorry. I saw some pictures and I heard from my friends that you were really fun.
Yeah, they look like a really fun band. They're freaking ripped out of their goddamn minds.
They're
apparently.
very, very jagged.
and they play real bagpipes for their Scottish folk metal, which is sick.
That's the thing that I'm like. I've mentioned Skiltron before in all these years that we've known each other, with everyone, with all of our friends in the power metal server. It has come up, and I'm like, yeah, this is a cool, well-known Euro folk band. And it's like, and everyone after the show was like, oh my God, they actually play actual bagpipes. I'm like, of course they do. What did you expect?
I think we're so used to fake instruments.
Oh my God.
Their most popular song is called Bagpipes of War.
They are the real deal. That's why they were popular. The actual real deal. That's just, I don't know, man. The good thing is that the ones that went to the show had a good time, even though I think most of our friends said they are not big fans of the material. Some of them were in awe of the muscles on display and the bagpipes.
The muscles in the bagpipes.
Yes, that's what matters, right? That's
true metal right there.
That's true metal. At this point, I think it was still during Skiltron set that I went back actually to the big venue.
I thought you were fucking nuts for this, but
it was like 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. I don't know. It was very late. I just went back into the cold night, to make it back to the venue, to hang out again with the fellowship guys, and with the true Hanowar warrior, or at least our friend Dom.
And Twilight Force.
And Twilight Force. And we talked a bit there, and then we brought the party to our hotel because a lot of Twilight Force was staying at the same hotel as us. And we just brought a bunch of beers from the venue to the lobby and made a fucking ruckus there.
I think you guys showed up at the lobby I don't know, 15 minutes after I left or something.
When we got there, it was empty.
So.
It was empty already. You guys were not there anymore. But we brought 2 crates of beers for like 5 people, and 2 of them who were like, they don't drink much or at all.
Which means the people that do drink then just go harder.
They just went harder. And they were like, Don. He had a bunch of beers on his pockets already. And then he's like, oh, you can pick this up. Nobody's going to drink them.
I've got my battle jacket with beers on the inside.
So he goes down and he's like, I have this crate. And then the guy, Lynn, I think, from Twilight Force is like, oh, man, did you grab a crate? You should have brought 2. And like, I have 1 too. And each of them had 1 full thing of 12 beer cans. It's fucking stupid.
Real rock star lifestyle.
But,
Twilight Force.
Yeah, but we had a great time. They did not drink all those beers. Let me tell you.
Thank God.
But I was like I was feeling like we were gonna get kicked out because we were so loud. We're just talking very loudly about metal stuff and just things with us, with Matt, with Cal.
It sounds basically like what we do at the Indigo at Mad with Power, where it's just like some of the dudes drinking and hanging out in the hotel lobby stupidly late at night, and somehow you get away with it.
Yeah, and what are the names? Lynn and the other guitarist from Twilight Force. I'm so bad with names.
It's a fancy thing
or something like that.
That's the keyboards.
I don't.
It starts with an A. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, it's like sorry, but like we didn't even introduce ourselves. That's the thing. We were just talking.
You didn't say, "Oh, hi, I am Fernando from the Power Metal Podcast. No, here is my business card. Here's."
I ran out of business cards.
I'm
very bad at this networking thing. But Carl was telling everyone, "Hey, do you know Fernando from the Power Metal Podcast?" He was telling everyone the same thing. It was hilarious. Jesus. He's such a great guy. He was like, "Hey, do you know Fernando?" Do you know Fernando?
Yeah, hey, you're a name. You're somebody.
Yeah, so that was great. We had a great time. I don't know how long we were there for, like maybe like 4 a.m. till 4 a.m. or something like that. The thing is that the Fellowship guys had a flight just the next day. And they were not staying at the hotel. They were staying in a hostel in the other side of the city, near the Viking ship museum. So at one point they had just to go catch maybe an hour of sleep or something, and then someone was picking them up to get them to the airport in Copenhagen. And Matt was the responsible one, and also the one that knew that would have to fight for Cal to get up later. But we still had we had an awesome time there. But obviously everyone started were like, well, I'm leaving and going to my room, blah, 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 blah. And before I knew it, everyone was gone. And there were like a full crate of beers left, plus a bunch of half-drunk beers and a bunch of empty cans. So I start picking up after everyone. And I'm feeling really bad because the reception dude was there all the time. But he had someone he was talking to. I think someone visited him. And then I went like, do you have like a trash can? Sorry, where I kind of toss this? And he was like, yeah, it's fine. Just I'm really sorry for the being so loud. He's like, it's fine. And I guess if no one staying at the hotel complained and nobody woke up angry about us shouting, maybe, I don't know, the hotel is pretty well built and everything's good. He was very, very nice about everything. Like he was clearly happy that we were having a good time. So great shout out to Dude in hotel.
How often is the Scandic Hotel in Roskilde, Denmark, popping off at 4 a.m?
Yeah, it probably doesn't happen a lot.
In January.
Yeah. So I ended up bringing to our hotel room this giant crate of beers. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? And like the next day we were all going back to Copenhagen, right? So it was like, I hope everyone is ready for beer breakfast. Like,
and we were not.
No, not at all. So when we woke up,
shout out to the hotel breakfast in Denmark. It was always phenomenal, no matter what hotel.
It was awesome. It was so good. Such good breakfast. All the kinds of bread that you would need for breakfast. Very nice. Very
like fancy
nice.
meats and cheeses, the coffees, the waffles, the pastries, the ginger shots. Apparently ginger shots are a thing. the culture of Denmark. We did get some of that.
True culture of Denmark. So in the morning we just we were like, okay, everyone is getting ready. We're gonna get together at the lobby just to check out and take the train, blah blah blah. And I'm like, here guys, a crate of beer. What do we do with this?
Well, clearly, you give it to the hotel receptionist.
Give it to the hotel receptionist. Thanks, Dom. That was a great move. They actually took it very happily.
Wonder what they did with it.
I hope they had a good time enjoying those beers. That's a way to check out from my hotel.
Yeah, and that was the end of Epic Fest.
That was the end of Epic Fest.
We ventured back to Copenhagen, spent a few more days there, getting cold and cultured. But that was that. Oh, they did announce kind of low key the bands for next year, or at least quite a few of them, which I'll run through just kind of quickly. I don't think I want to go next year. It could be the best lineup ever. I don't need to spend all of that time and money to go to Denmark again. Luckily, okay, so it's going to be in April next year. And it was in April the first year.
Yeah.
So this is the only time it's been in January.
It's just for us.
What the fuck? They just had to make it that much harder.
That much harder.
But fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right. So I guess starting from the bottom of the lineup, we've got Battleborn, who I'm really stoked for them. They're another up-and-coming band from the UK. I really liked their album last year. Terra Atlantica. They're a fun band as well. I like their albums that they've got going on. I think that'll be a fun show. We've also got quite a few American bands doing like their first shows in Europe, which I think is just kind of neat to see from, the other side here. So Shadow Strike and Judicator are doing their first European shows at Epic Fest. It's always cool to see the American bands kind of getting brought over like that. There's the world premiere live show of Apostolica. Apostolica.
Yeah, like apostle.
Also, yeah, like apostle, because there's like a crucifix for the T.
Yeah. Apostolica. Where are they from? Are they from Italy?
Is it too generic?
Okay, no.
That was gonna be my next guess. Damn it.
Close enough. But then
close
it's
enough.
Apostolica.
Yeah. After Apostolica is Induction. I really like Induction. They're one of my like low key follows I'm going on right now. It's Kai Hansen's son, his band.
Yeah.
Tim Hansen. They do like symphonic power metal, and I think they're very, very good. So I wish this is one that, or like if I was going next year, I'd be like making a big point to see, but I'm not going to go. Please don't let me go. They've also got Theocracy. Theocracy has done a few shows in Europe before, so it's not a debut for them, but it's still probably going to be the first time for a lot of people seeing them. We got the band Royal Hunt doing what they call a Paradox special. I do not know who they are or what makes Paradox so special, but I'm happy for them. We've also got Ross the Boss doing a Sign of the Hammer and Hanowar Greatest Hits set. That'll be a good fucking time. I thought Ross the Boss was fun at Prague Power.
Yeah, it was fun, I guess. To me,
that was day one first band.
Yeah, to me, it's more like you have to be a fan of what he does.
Just do it for the meme. That's all. You just got to do it for the meme. That's fun. And then the biggest band they've got announced so far is Stratovarius, who are, they're a classic. They're an all-timer. They're going to be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to announce anyone else.
It says much more epicness to come.
Oh, okay. Because the poster looks lopsided in its design. I don't know if it's just the design or the fact that there's a spot clear for more.
I'm guessing they'll put like one or two more on there because they're going to be doing the 2-venue thing again. It'll be April, so it won't be quite so bad, luckily, but still, it's still inconvenient.
Yeah, but well, we'll probably not attend this festival, not just because of it's in Denmark.
But hey, for our European listeners,
yes,
it's a good time.
It's a good time.
Relatively easy to get to. Like just pop the train on over from Copenhagen. Europe has actual trains that
Yes.
work and are reasonably priced. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Coming.
Actually,
So, hey, take advantage of that.
If you really want to gun it, if you go from the Copenhagen airport all the way to one of the hotels, of the 2 hotels in Roskilde, you can do that just on trains and metro. It's incredible.
Yeah, like I took trains the whole trip, and it worked out totally fine.
Yeah, and that's Epic Fest. That will be Epic Fest number 3. We went to Epic Fest number 2.
It's worth mentioning that Epic Fest also has like other nerd shit at the festival.
Oh, right.
That we didn't really partake in because we were kind of busy. But they also have like official like D&D sessions that you can sign up for. They're like partnered with a game shop. They like turn like a building next to the small venue into like a tavern. The Ravens Tavern, I think they called it, or something like that. They've got the like fantasy, what was it, like a photo booth type thing. They at the merch thing, they're selling like tankards and drinking horns.
They also selling
they really go into like the nerd shit.
They were also selling.
It's cool.
They were also selling custom dice.
Oh yeah, they had like really fancy dice
in a really nice case. It was really cool. They sold festival T-shirts of peculiar designs and color choices. If you wanted to really call attention to yourself, you could buy one.
Hey, I bought an Epic Fest shirt. I got the purple one with the bands on it. I think it's
cool.
Do
you, Kyle.
I will do me, Fernando. Muchas gracias, okay?
It was, all in all, it was really, really good. While we were on that area that we mentioned at the big venue with the tables, it wasn't only like all decorated in medieval epic stuff. There was also a small acoustic band doing folk music as background.
They had like the bardcore going off like in the like really festival hall. It was so fun.
That's great. That's honestly great. Just because you got more live music.
More live music, more nerd shit. It's like, you know why we're here, right? Yeah. You can lean into it.
So it made all the cold worth it, I guess.
Warms the heart.
Yes, it really does. But I guess that was it for Epic Fest.
Yes, the most epic fest known to man, as we say.
As we say, yeah, it's a fun title to say. So what now? We're wrapping up this part. Do we want to?
As we wrap up, I think we'll just say we don't want this podcast to just be Kyle's travel log. So we will be doing more regular episodes talking about music and talking to bands and stuff. We're getting some fun stuff lined up for this year. That'll be happening pretty soon.
Yes.
If you want to get some of my other thoughts on metal, which why else would you be listening to this podcast? Am I right? I do a post on the Power Metal subreddit every year going through some of my favorite albums. I call it ZF's Albums for Consideration. I did one of those for 2023, going through some of my favorite metal albums. So if you really need the correct takes, you can check that out.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you should definitely read Kyle's thing. It's a very good read. And if you might find bands that or releases that you didn't listen to before that you might really like. There's deep cuts on there. There's deep cuts. There's a lot of good info. We are terribly sorry that we didn't do an episode out of that this year. It's the first year that we missed the end of year thing, but end of year of 2023 was basically cataclysmic. And couldn't really put a single second of time on it. But
just remember, it's all Fernando's fault.
It's all my fault all the time. But starting now, we're going to do better. We have stuff lined up for this year that is going to be some of the cool stuff that we think people like from the show, with guests and talking about albums or whatever. But we'll also try to do more frequent or less infrequent episodes like in the years before, and maybe a bit different, maybe a bit shorter. just gonna
We say that, but
we say that we always try. We always try. We will actually gonna do it. We're gonna be there for you to listen to. We know that when we started the podcast, we always saying that, oh, this is what you listen to on your Monday morning commute to work. A lot of our audience doesn't do Monday commutes anymore.
hell yeah.
So we're gonna change it up a bit, hopefully for the better and for something that we can actually stick with. And in case you don't know, we have a Patreon that helps keep the podcast up, and we are actually gonna make if we start doing more episodes, that means we're actually gonna enable the Patreon, because every month that we don't release an episode, Kyle takes the work of turning it off so that you don't get charged.
Yeah. I pause it every month we don't do an episode.
Exactly. Which
is most of them.
Because it makes no sense. We feel bad about that. But now we're going to actually do more episodes. So you will see that enable more. And if you didn't know about it, now you know. We have a little Patreon for Powerful, the Power Metal podcast. You can easily find it. It's probably linked in whatever text there is, in wherever you're looking at this. If you want to support us into returning to making this a more frequent podcast that actually talks about power metal and not just, oh, I went to this cool place, like we did the past 4 episodes.
It's great. I love it.
Yes. I mean, we probably do that anyways, but it's not going to be just that. It will be in between episodes where we talk about releases, where we talk about news. Also trying to make it, we don't talk much about news because we haven't been doing frequent enough episodes to stay up to date and have the episodes be relevant. But we'll also try to still do episodes where we just talk about a topic that is timeless. And if this is the first episode that you ever listened from us, I hope you liked it, and I hope you stick with us. And meanwhile, you can go and check one of our older episodes. As I mentioned, there are ones that are just topics that you can listen to at any time. You just skip the news portion, which is probably old, and check them out.
Listen to the Hansi one. That's the best one.
Listen to the Hansi one. That's a great episode. If you like Tolkien, listen to the episode we did with Hansi talking about Tolkien for 3 hours. It was really great. It's pretty long, but it's worth listening to. And I've been putting effort on having our longer episodes have chapters so you can skip around if you're very impatient about it. Check out our guest episodes. We might have had a conversation with some of the bands or artists that you're a fan of, or maybe someone you want to get more into or get more information about, more details about a certain album. We've done that. We've done some album deep dives with the actual artists, like with Fellowship and with Ravenous. And do check out our stuff, and hope you stick around. And I think that's it for this episode, which hopefully there will be more episodes before the next travel blog.
At least one.
At least one.
Yeah, we got it.
We
got
can make
this,
a promise. At least one. Yes. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. And stay powerful.
Stay powerful.